Thanks to Bookmark for sponsoring this video. Expectations versus reality. The iPhone 13 is only a few weeks away, and this has been one of the most rumored phones that we've had in a long time. But what's funny about that is all those rumors had led to expectations, and now that we know more about what we're actually going to get, I think there's going to be some letdowns. But that does not mean the iPhone 13 is going to be a bad phone. So here are the top features that you should expect from the iPhone 13 in just a few weeks. So here's kind of the basics up front. The iPhone 13 is going to be very similar to the iPhone 12 that we have now. So that means the same sizes, the same basic names. So we're gonna have the Pro Max and the Pro and the regular and the mini. There's no major refresh, there's no major redesign. So if that's something that you were hoping for, well, I mean, you're out of luck. But that's not really much of a surprise. The iPhone 12 was the first major redesign that we had since the iPhone 10, and that went through 3 generations of iterations before they changed it up. And even now, the iPhone 12 doesn't look that much different than what came before it. So I don't really think any of us are that surprised by that, but if you were hoping for something completely new and different, that's not happening this year. But digging in deeper, there are new things we are expecting to see, but there are also some that we were expecting that don't seem to be coming anymore. Now first, that design. I said it's not going to change very much, but there will be some tweaks here and there. The biggest change, just visually, is the notch. It's supposed to finally be getting smaller. I know this is something a lot of people have been wanting. They want the notch to go away altogether. Now, for me, I understand that the notch is there because of Face ID, so I'm okay with it being there, but making it smaller is definitely an improvement and something I'm glad to see coming. Now, the notch is not going to be gone. It still exists, and you're still going to be able to notice it, but it should be smaller. Apparently, Apple has been able to shrink all the components in Face ID so that it fits in a smaller section, and apparently they're making that even smaller for the next generation of the iPhone. So hopefully one day soon the notch will be gone, but as of this year, it's just getting a little smaller. Now besides that, we are expecting a new color. When Apple doesn't really redesign everything, they like to introduce a new color, and this year it looks to be some kind of a bronze color, and from all the renderings we have, it looks more orange. I don't know how I feel about this. Usually when there's a new color, it doesn't look that great in the renderings, but then you get it in person and it's like, okay, I kind of get it now. I don't know if this is going to be the color for me, but hey, new color is always good. Now, the display is where things get a little bit more interesting, at least if you're going to be buying a Pro model iPhone this year. So the regular iPhones, the 13 and the 13 mini, don't really seem to be getting any upgrades at all to the display, but the Pro models will be finally getting that ProMotion display, 120 Hertz refresh rate, and it will be variable, of course. So if you've used an iPad Pro, if you've used pretty much any Android device these days in 2021, you know what this is going to look like, and it's about time. Let's just put it that way. So apparently Apple is using the LTPO tech from the Apple Watch and implementing that into the phone. And basically what this means is it's variable refresh and it uses very little energy, and that will enable one very exciting, I guess you could say, feature in always on display. Again, a feature that Android has had for, I mean, ever, really, but it seems to finally be coming to the iPhone. Now, how this will be implemented, I'm not exactly sure, but really the way I'd like to see it is basically take the Apple Watch and the display that it shows and just put that on the screen whenever you're not using it. Give me those complications, give me those widgets, and give me the time and notifications, and I'm good. That would be a very nice thing to see. And judging by the Apple Watch and how that works with its always on display, I think this is going to be a perfect match for the iPhone. Again, it's just one of the things that, is finally coming. The only other place where you can really see a design change on the iPhone is that camera bump. Now, again, kind of like with the display, the cameras are not changing all that much. Now, there should be a slight improvement to the ultra-wide camera across the board. So an f1.8 aperture, so you get better low light, hopefully better detail, but really that's about it. It's kind of a year-over-year improvement that Apple really likes to make to their cameras. They change the aperture and that's about it. And Apple's also supposedly bringing that sensor shift tech that we have in the iPhone 12 Pro Max and bringing that to all of the iPhones, including the 13 and 13 mini. Now, whether that's getting the same sensor, I haven't seen definitively yes or no, but I hope it does because I really enjoy the 12 Pro Max camera, and getting that as the main sensor on every iPhone is a big step up, at least I think. But I also wouldn't be surprised that there are some other changes, whether it's software or hardware, especially in the Pro models, because that camera bump has gotten significantly bigger. The difference is pretty substantial, and if they weren't changing any of the hardware, which at least according to rumors, they're not, I'm not really sure what that would be for. So here's to hoping that there are bigger improvements than that, although I'm not really expecting it. It's just a hope. I would expect some software features though. So one that's been rumored is portrait mode in video. That's not something I'm really that interested in. I've seen the effect with other companies and other brands, and it looks, it's interesting. I'd see why people want it, but for me, who was very picky about that kind of stuff, I don't think it would be good enough for me to use all the time, although I would like to see how they implement it. And I guess the validation that this is coming is that in iOS 15 and FaceTime, you can blur the background, which is basically the same thing as portrait mode, so no reason why it wouldn't be able to come to the regular camera app. This is just not a feature I'm very excited for, but if you are someone who's waiting for portrait mode in video, seems like it's finally going to be coming. I'd also like to see Apple just do something more with the LiDAR scanner. I mean, yeah, it's probably working great on my 12 Pro Max, but I never really noticed it. Right now, it's really focused on low light and if you're using AR. For AR, I actually do see a benefit, but for photos, I don't really see much there. Low lights on this phone is great, but the graininess and the lack of detail that happens when you're in low lights with these phones is overpowering any of the detail I can get from that LiDAR scanner, at least in my opinion. So I'd like to see that LiDAR scanner be implemented in more places and in more ways, because right now it's just kind of underwhelming. Real quick before we continue, I want to thank this video's sponsor, Bookmark. Now, Bookmark is an AI-powered website builder. These days, we all need a website and we all need to make one, but this is powered by Ada, your artificial intelligence design assistant. And to use this, there are 3 simple steps. You just log on, create an account, and answer a few questions about what you want to create. Then you just let Ada get to work, and within 2 minutes, you have a website built for you using the power of artificial intelligence. And if there's something that you don't like or you want to change, you can easily drag and drop different features and different elements to make the website exactly the way you want. And that's it. You now have a website up and running, and you can use it for anything that you need. And one of my favorite things is that they offer a free tier, so you can give it a shot and see if it works for you. But if you do want to upgrade, Bookmark is offering 15% off if you use the promo code right here on screen, and I'll leave that linked down below in the description as well. So check out Bookmark and get your website built for you. So some other little details that we know. It's going to be getting the latest processor from Apple, the A15. There were some hints that maybe Apple would put in an M1 chip just because they put in everything else. Why not put in the iPhone? But seems like that's not happening, and really there's no need to. The A15 is going to be a powerhouse, just like the A14 that we currently have. Honestly, I've never even thought about the processor. They're just that good. Also, the battery is going to be getting bigger, physically larger inside the phone, not just the improvements with the A15, which it's going to be getting those as well. But pair that with the physically bigger battery, and hopefully these will be the king of battery life once again. With the iPhone 11 models, that was one of their best strengths. Battery life was excellent. And now using the 12, I have the 12 mini, which battery life sucks there, but I also use the 12 Pro Max, and battery life is good, but it's certainly not what you used to get on the 11 series. So hopefully we can match or even exceed what we used to have back then. Okay, so those are the kind of, set in stone features and changes, but here's what we were expecting that seems to not be coming anymore, and it's kind of a bummer. The first one is Touch ID under the display. This is a feature Android phones have had for years. Seems like a common theme with this phone, but it's true. They've been there and they worked really well. And bringing that to the iPhone, I think would be a big deal, because then you would have Touch ID if you wanted to use that, and Face ID if you wanted to use that. And in theory, you could use both to have the ultimate security on your phone. Now, these rumors were pretty well substantiated from people like Ming-Chi Kuo, Barclays, but it seems like that was only in development on a single model. They were testing it to see if it would work, and they did make it, but it doesn't seem to be coming to the final product. For me personally, I don't really mind this. I'm very used to Face ID and it works pretty well for me, but I know there's a lot of people out there who really love Touch ID and would like to see it come back, and well, I guess it's not, at least not this year. But I'm still holding out just a tiny bit of hope that maybe it will happen. I'm not really betting on it, but I'm hoping that maybe there's a chance. And also let me know, for those of you that like Touch ID, if they didn't bring it under the display, but they brought it to the button like they have on the iPad Air, is that something you would be happy with? I think that'd be a nice middle ground solution if for whatever reason they weren't happy with how it was implemented under the display. I think I'd be okay with that, although, let me know what you think. Now the other thing is the Lightning port. Now, I didn't really expect this to be going away, but there were some hints, some little rumors, some whispers that maybe Apple was going to remove the port this year, and apparently, according to reports, this was something that Apple considered. But it's not happening. We're still gonna have the same Lightning ports. No USB-C either, which I think a lot of us would be very happy to see, but that's not happening. But there should be some small improvements to MagSafe. The magnets should be better, and I would hope that the reverse wireless charging that apparently the iPhone 12 was always capable of, I hope that would be opened up to more things. I would love to just put my AirPods on the back of my phone and start charging them. Again, another feature that we have had on other phones for a long time. But since the phone can do it, and apparently could do it secretly all along, I would like that to be used with other devices, not just the battery pack that they currently sell. But MagSafe is supposed to be getting a slight upgrade with better magnets. That's one of the biggest issues with it right now, is that if you have something attached to it magnetically, it likes to slide off pretty easily. That should be adjusted at least a little bit. I still don't think it's gonna be perfect, but any adjustment is better than nothing. So when are we actually going to see these phones? Well, last year during the pandemic, there was a bit of a delay, so they were actually released in October, and that is later than usual. But it seems that's not an issue this year, so the announcement for these phones looks to be in September, so really only a few weeks away. And the other question I have is, what are these going to be named? You know, everyone's calling it the iPhone 13 because it's the successor to the iPhone 12, but if you look at Apple's past, there's always an S model year there, but they also messed everything up with the iPhone 12 because according to their past, that should have been the 11S, but they didn't do that. So who knows what the name could be. I'm still thinking it's very possible it's called the 12S. I know back when these rumors first started to happen, there was rumors that it wouldn't be the iPhone 13 because that's like an unlucky number. I don't know. I just have a feeling this is going to be an S year. But yeah, that is the iPhone 13, everything we expect in the next few weeks. There's a lot of little tweaks there, but certainly nothing major. And if you have an iPhone 12, I'm not sure there's gonna be a reason to run out and get it unless you're dying to get a high refresh rate screen. But if you were holding out with the iPhone 11 or 10s or 10 even, then this may be the one to get because it seems to be a refinement of what we got with the iPhone 12. But overall, we're gonna know in just a few more weeks, and we're gonna have new iPhones again.